Yo, what is going on, my fellow weebs? Krono here, and welcome back to the channel. So today I am going to be doing something a little bit different. We've got an NGS headline on the horizon, and usually we do our predictions. However, I wanted to get a different opinion on the matter. So in today's video, we're actually going to be reviewing a good friend of the channel, Keros' video, and his NGS headline predictions, which seem to leave a bit wanting. But before we jump into that, if you're new here, as always, I'm Krono. I primarily cover PSO2 content. Would much appreciate a subscribe as we work our way towards that 10K mark, hopefully, by the end of this year. If you didn't hear, we're actually going to be doing a marathon stream. So it's not by the time this video goes live, but by the time our next video goes live, like our headline video and things of that sort, we should already be live. And we'll be live for, at the bare minimum, the next 6 days. It's going to be hopefully longer than that if we hit some of the goals that we're going for. But we'll have to see. Hopefully you guys show up, and I'll see you there. Either way, let's go ahead and jump into this. All right, so we have Keros' video pulled up here. As always, there'll be a link in the video description to the video directly. Definitely support the original video if you want to just watch his reaction to it.
Good morning, everyone.
Today, and watch ours. Whoops, pause for a second. You don't have to sit here and watch ours. Totally fine to go ahead and watch his. I'll leave a link. Just I'll ask you to toss a like on the video. It helps out. Maybe toss a comment that you'd rather watch Keros' video. Might hurt my feelings, but it does help the algorithm, so I'll let it slide this one time. Either way, I'm going to probably pause quite a bit here. So if you don't want to deal with pausing, you know where to go.
Is my predictions for the NGS headline. And I'm going to just give you a disclaimer right off the bat. It does not look very good. But before we...
Did I call it or did I call it? I'm going to give you guys my my quick, like, just throw out there. I don't expect this month to be anything crazy, man. With everything they've said is slated for December, I don't know what they would put this month. So it's like, whatever.
We jump into all of that. If you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video.
Such a simple intro. I dig it, dude.
So the very first thing I want to get out of the way is temper your expectations for November. I do not think November is going to be very hype. I think...
No. Not at all.
It's actually going to be very dry content-wise. The reason I say this is simply because when we look at the roadmap over here, well, under October and November, we've actually had everything. All the hype stuff is already...
Yeah. Yeah, most of, like, what the good things are have already been... It's already here. We've already had the high rank Stia. We've already had the Crimson Realm. We've had the Tector expansion, which was great, by the way, which is fantastic. Level 95, which isn't too crazy. Whatever, the new item collab the new item lab feature. I think honestly the only thing that I'm like, oh snap, dude, next month's gonna be hype is literally just for the Idola collab, and that's only if we get Jasper. If we don't get Jasper, then dude, I'm gonna go to sleep in November.
Over. For example, seasonal event is done. We already have the new high ranks for Stia. We have the limited time urgent quest. We have the...
To be fair, that says 2 limited time urgent quests. The other one could be gas. We don't know that, but we have already had one of those 2 limited urgent quests.
Limited time Stia Crimson Realm. We also have the Tector expansion, the level cap increase to 95, and the new item lab features already.
Which I'm going to go ahead and mention again. Increasing level to 95 doesn't really do anything. Like, it's not that interesting anymore. Level increases used to be interesting beforehand because they were brought with like skill increases, and they were done during like it was all kind of systematic, right? It was kind of put together, and once you separate it, you realize that it wasn't all that interesting in the first place. Like level increases came alongside of like new zone, which came alongside more skills, which came alongside more skill points. All at the same time, and we'd get all those things, and then it didn't matter anymore. They were kind of like whatever, you know. So now that you separate them, we're doing a different sort of process. You realize that level increases don't really mean a whole lot, and they really haven't ever in the PSO2 space. In base PSO2, there was a bit of a change because level increases would provide you some extra skill points, which you could play around with your skill tree a little bit more. In certain upgrades, there were sometimes added new skills. Like the level 85 patch was pretty big for base PSO2, but really didn't make major changes. And level ups also don't affect your stats as heavily as they did beforehand. I believe it was up to level 75 is where our stats were like being jumped pretty dramatically each time, and they slowed down pretty dramatically after that, going towards 80, 85, 90, 95 now.
Ready. The only thing that we don't have yet is the Idola NGS collaboration, which comes in next week. But
Hey. How do you know that's next week? We got confirmed Idol collab next week. Is there information I'm missing? Also, I'm a silhouette because I can't show this off yet. This is supposed to be for tomorrow. Stick around if you want to see what's behind the silhouette.
That really doesn't leave much for November.
Doesn't
so
leave anything.
What can we expect in
Doesn't
November
leave
by looking
anything,
at the roadmap? It's really just limited time events or limited time quests times 5. So that pretty much means that every week is going to be a different limited time quest, a different LTQ.
Yep.
I think a lot of it is going to depend on the loot itself. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to incentivize a lot of people to farm this by putting in all of the high value items that people actually need or want in order to upgrade their gear, like the prog.
This is going to be a tinfoil hat theory, but something tells me that with these limited time quests, there's going to be something that's going to factor in to more of our transfer pass vouchers. Basically, we're at the point now where if you farmed every single day and you farmed all the things you could farm for it, and you got all the transfer passes you can get, you now can afford 3 passes, I believe. Something tells me now that that threshold has been, crossed, now they're going to start putting little pieces in. It could be copium. Who knows, man? I don't know. I would like to see it because I know there are people out there who absolutely need them, but something tells you that's going to be the reason to look at LTQs.
Try it.
Either that or it's going to be like the new augments that just came out are going to start dropping from there and make them like super cheap. Not that they aren't already super cheap.
I definitely could see that being a boss. Like they put a limited time quest where you are guaranteed to fight the doggo. I think a lot of people go ballistic with that for like an entire week, farming that in order to crash the prog trial market. That might be a possibility. But I do think that they're going to use the limited time quest to kind of shove resources towards all the casual players and just make sure that everyone catches up.
Which is the point of limited time quests, by the way. It is a vehicle to deliver gear as well as resources to players that are behind. It is not meant for players like myself and most of us that play the game consistently. That's the reason why I only care about how fun is the LTQ, right? Like how easily farmable is it versus how fun it is really all I care about. The rewards are kind of like, it's not for me.
The reason why I say this is because
anyway.
In December, they're going to be really pushing hard on the new high difficulty solo quest with Masquerade. I feel like this is going to be one of the hype pieces of content that they want everyone to be able to try at the very least. And well,
100%.
for those who have played the base game, Masquerade is definitely no pushover. And considering that this is going to be a solo piece of content and not a group thing, it's gonna be all up to you and your skills as well as your gear to carry yourself through it. And
I love that he said both. It is not just your skills. Yes, your skills are very important, but it's both your gear and your skill. You can substitute one for another a little bit, but the other can't carry the entire way. You got to put a little bit of both in there. The more you have of one, the less you can have of the other, but there's actually like a threshold where you can't go past it, right? You can't have so much gear that you can have 0 skill. You can't have so much skill that you can have 0 gear, if that makes sense.
And so I'm pretty sure that they will try to, help everyone catch up to get a certain amount of gear, a certain amount of potency, so that you'll be able to at least beat the first level or the first couple levels of Masquerade.
That's assuming it works the same
Other
way.
than that, we do have a limited time urgent quest. There's still room for one more of these, so we're gonna have to see what it is. And then there is going to be another collaboration. If we actually take a look at the NGS headline YouTube page itself and scroll down to the description below, you can actually see that they did say right here that there will be more information on a upcoming collaboration. Unfortunately, as we can see here, they don't actually tell us what it is. It's just question mark, which is...
I didn't consider the fact that there was another section that said question mark underneath the collaboration section. I just looked at idle and figured that was the case. So yeah, we do have another collab. Wonder what that's going to be.
Very, very strange. Normally they will tell you at least what type of genre it is, whether it's based off a light novel, a game or something. But this time it's literally just 3 question marks, which is a little bit odd. We're going to have to just kind of wait and see. And hopefully it is going to be Bleach, Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, something along those lines of stuff that I want.
That is a stretch. I swear to God, if we get a Bleach collab and I see another Katana idol, I'm going to lose my mind. Now, granted, if we get a Bleach collab and it's like Ichigo's idle with his 2 swords, neurons activated. But yeah, no, I think what happened here is at the time that this has come out, they did not have the actual collaboration squared away on what it was going to be. Actually, I'm going to take a look here really quick. One sec. Okay, I wanted to check the original article itself to make sure there was no notes of any changes or anything like that. The schedule literally hasn't changed since the original time of broadcast, from what we can tell here. There's no updates anywhere or anything along those lines, which tells me that they likely just didn't know what this collab was going to be at the time they put this in here. And it just may not be important enough for them to want to update the actual roadmap until they know more about what's going on. They could be really banking on this December slot, honestly, right here, and like really pushing for this to be kind of the big important thing. And then like maybe they update a little bit more over here afterwards. It's a very Sega thing to do, is to like, we have the information, we just haven't given it to you yet. Which it's silly because like half the community will be clowning on them about saying, oh, there's nothing here, and they'll be like, oh, you guys, yeah, they'll be like the guy at the party in the corner. You guys have seen that meme of the dude in the corner? It's like, they don't know what we know for them. In reality, like, everyone's like, we know that you're not giving us anything. But anyway, it's a very common Sega thing. It's likely what's going on here in this situation. But we'll go back to the video.
But for December, it says game from another company. I want them to do Nikkei. Please make it Nikkei. Sega, make it Nikkei. Or Stellar.
Oh man. Nikkei, really? Nikkei collab? The Type 1 in me would be very sad. However, the PSO2 player in me knows that would be a very successful collaboration.
Blade or Monster Hunter, or
he really follow up Nikkei with Stellar Blade? At least he said Monster Hunter after that.
Final Fantasy, one of the big games, something along.
He picked 2 afterward. Okay, all right, Kara, we're gonna fight. You picked the 2 Coomer choices, and then afterwards you picked the 2 companies they've already collabed with. You picked Monster Hunter, and then you picked Final Fantasy. I mean, I like those 2 choices. I'm with you. I'm here for those 2 choices. Those 2 choices are exactly what I like. The other 2, again, the Type 1 in me would be very, very sad. However, the PSO2 player in me knows they would be successful. It's a better chance of the first 2, to be honest.
On those, even though some people might argue Nikkei's not really a big game, one of the culture games that I can get behind, all right? One of the games that I play, that I know about. That's really all I'm asking for.
Dude, what would I ask for? What game would I want PSO2 to collab with? I don't know. Maybe another sci-fi-esque game, man. Like something along the line. What if, random collab out of nowhere. What if it was Star Ocean, dude? But Star Ocean doesn't have like a recent release. I don't know. What if it was Ease? I'm trying to think of games that have come out recently. Like Ease has had one of its versions come out recently. Star Ocean hasn't been out for a while, man. I don't know. I'm honestly not sure what game I would want to see come out in a collaboration. I don't know that I could think of anything. Continue.
But that's really it. That's really the stuff that we have confirmed over here. Everything else from here on outwards is just going to be my speculations. And so, as I said earlier, I do think that Sega is going to make it easier for everyone to just gear up faster. So remember all the Duosalio materials that you needed to farm, your armor materials and all of that stuff. They're probably going to make that like infinitely more easier.
To be fair, it's already easy. You don't have to even try. It takes you maybe like 2 hours of farming in one zone to get everything you need. So I don't know how they make that easier without just handing it to you when you log in. Like the drops are already insane. You can run either Noose and Plant or Deck Space. There's really a Crimson Realm right now. Honestly, doing Crimson Realm gives you everything for your units, for your weapons, for the new augments. To make money. Like it gives you, it's literally everything. So I don't think Keros wrong, but I don't know how they make that easier.
Probably gonna be a campaign boost of somewhat to enhance
that I agree
your gear, to upgrade everything much easier, the 100% great success rate and all of that stuff.
We'll likely see that, yeah.
I expect to see all of that stuff come in. But for people who are looking for new content, I don't know. Honestly, I'm keeping my expectations to the bare minimum in the sense that I don't think there's going to be any new content. There's just going to be a bunch of limited time quests, which are going to give you a lot of rewards. So if you are lacking on certain resources, maybe we can look forward to that. But for people who are fully built and fully decked out already and are kind of just looking for a challenge or looking for something interesting to run, I don't think we're going to be getting anything crazy. Now, Sega might pull a reverse Uno card on me and be like, oh, Dark Falls, new Malevolent Dark Falls XYZ is going to come out, and it's going to drop a new 12-star rarity weapon. That could be a possibility. I would be very happy to see that, and that would definitely give me something to grind for. But
I don't see that happening. That would be pretty cool. I don't think it'd be a good idea for it to drop a weapon. Here's my problem, though. It's like they just gave us a weapon upgrade. They just gave us every reason to go for a weapon upgrade. They just gave us every reason to use that weapon upgrade. For a new weapon to drop, it would have to be slightly stronger than our current choice, which would make it completely useless in most situations because, one, you wouldn't get the fixes for it. So it would have to drop pretty regularly, meaning it wouldn't be super rare. And if it wasn't super rare, that means that we'd get a hold of them very easily. We'd be able to get high fixes. And then suddenly you have now power crept the weapon they told you would last long. See, here's the problem with that process. Now you have to be very careful about weapon releases. So before Duocilio existed, I would agree 100% with Kero and be like, yes, something new for me to chase and go after. Now I am legitimately concerned about updates that would be similar to that, because I think it would have a negative impact on the player base, and not in the way that some people do think. Some people are like, oh, well, you know, it would just hurt the casuals. Like the casual would be upset, you know, they would have to go and grind for a new weapon, or that'd be weaker. No, honestly, I think that would actually help in their situation. Who I think it hurts the most are those who are actually keeping up with their gear. You guys are probably like, oh, Mr. Streamer, you just don't want to have to get a new weapon. Yeah, I don't. I just finished making a new weapon, and I finished making new armor, and I upgraded everything, and everything's best in slot now. Stop it. Shut up. I'm just joking. I do like the weapon chase. I do. I honestly do. I think it'd be fun, but I think it'd be really, really hard to ever do anything like that. So while I think it'd be interesting, I don't know, man. I don't know.
But from what we've seen so far, nothing really points into that direction. Because if they were actually going to release a Dark Falls or something, they usually make a big deal about it.
They do.
So I don't really know if this is just Sega's new marketing strategy of like, don't give them anything to build up hype on, so that people temper their expectations and people have really low expectations, and then wow them in the NGS headline. That might be their tactic, but I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. If they were cooking up something, they would have showed it. Because like, look, the Masquerade thing comes out in December, and they showed it like 3, 4, 5 months before it was even ready. And they're like, hey guys, we're making Masquerade. Look at the silhouette, guys. So I don't think there's going to be anything in November.
I agree. However, the Masquerade thing, we got to keep in mind, they just said, hey, look, here's the roadmap, and hey, look, here's the difficult content in the future. They never said it was Masquerade. We just know because of the silhouette. We're just aware because of the silhouette itself and its solo content. We know of the content. We've played it beforehand. So we know, like, oh, we know how this works. We're making a lot of assumptions based on what we've already done and dealt with. So, yes, they showed us that silhouette and they showed us the actual roadmap. But there is still a possibility they could have something cooking and throw that out there. Like, it's definitely very much a possibility. They've done these things beforehand where they've, out of nowhere, given us something that we never would have expected. They've done this with content that's released. They've done this with mini games that have come out. They've done this with quality of life integrations that have been added into the game that no one ever asked for out of nowhere. Like, they've done this multiple times beforehand. So I don't agree with that take specifically. Like, it's possible. Like, there's always that possibility. However, there's nothing we can really expect, unfortunately, because they haven't really shown us anything. So if anything, if I were to assume anything that would release in that time slot that would make sense, that would be a good piece of content that they could utilize, I could foresee the limited time urgent quest being something to do with, I'm not going to say his name because there's some people who still haven't done the story. I'm not sure why you guys haven't. Just do the story. But for those of you guys who actually did the story, the new big bad we were introduced to was introduced in a way that could look like very much a boss fight that we would do that'd be similar to a boss fight of old. For those of you guys who are familiar with Faleg, that was very beloved and a lot of people actually enjoyed fighting quite a bit. It was like the beginning of my Get Good arc was getting rocked by Faleg. There was one of two things that happened, but regardless, I could definitely foresee there being a limited time urgent quest of that. I know people would want it to be limited time, but that's definitely a possibility. I could foresee them dropping like a boss fight like that, like, you know, of that, oh, sudden Dark Falls thing or whatever. That could be that sort of integration there. Again, these are just full on speculations. There's no reason this is like, I'm not going based on any information that I would know ahead of time. It's just something that you could guess about.
So that's my expectations. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think?
Special thanks to all the members for supporting.
Yeah. So end of the day, I mean, expectation wise, I'm not fully disagree with Kero. I don't think there's anything coming this month, to be perfectly honest. You can always leave the possibility of things happening. We're looking at things like the roadmap, like, but I mean, he said it fairly well. Like, the roadmap kind of already gives us all the information we have here, and there's not a whole lot to go on. I'm just gonna pull it up here. There's not a whole lot to go on. We've kind of got everything we need to see right here. And as we can see, most of what we have scheduled is like, that's it. All the good stuff is later on, or we already got the hype stuff that we've had beforehand. And the real hype stuff is much later on, looking at February and March. A lot of people are like, oh, we're probably not seeing any story till after March. It's very much a possibility, but like, for the story to last that long in between, it's never been that long between story chapters, unless they're doing something really big that's changing pretty dramatically. Now, I'm gonna hit you guys with a hyper tinfoil hat theory. This is like my, if hopium was a real thing, right? That just it was absorbed in every pore of my body, and that I was just going on the absolute craziest tangent possible of what to expect. Hyper tinfoil hat theory, after March, is like a huge update to the game that changes a lot about where we are and what we're doing. And I think what happens is the story introduces whatever that thing is, and that's why we haven't gotten it yet. That's my hyper tinfoil hat theory. I think more realistically, the story is probably somewhere in this section here, and they haven't finalized it, which is why they haven't told us yet. And it's not as big as I think it actually is. But like, if you want a hyper tinfoil hat, like super fun theory, I know sometimes people like to make those fun theories. And sometimes other people are like, oh, well, you're totally wrong. That's not going to happen. SEGA would never do that and whatever. I don't know why you want to not have fun in life. Like, I don't know, man. So many flavors in this world, and you choose salty. Regardless, sometimes it's fun to speculate certain things, and that's like my like crazy, outlandish, insane theory, is that the story is cooking so intensely that they've heard people complain so hard about being on Halpha that there's some crazy thing that's happening that it's going to be super big to the game, and it's not going to happen until after March. But as far as what's happening in November, I'm going to say a valid and very intense nothing. I don't think November is anything that's going on. I think November is a pure catch-up month. It's LTQs. It's a limited time urgent quest. It's going to be kind of interesting, maybe. Maybe it's going to be like a limited time urgent quest that buffs up Malevolent DFD for everyone. Wait, have we had a group and Malevolent DFD yet? It's only been the 4-man. Yeah, I think I already know what this is. I think what this is going to be the buffed Malevolent Dark Falls Dalian, but the 8-man variant of it. I think that's what that's going to be. And that way people have a chance to do this, and it's going to buff it up to our current level. Maybe we'll be able to take more people through it, which will be a lot of fun. Maybe it'll also be cross-ship. That'll be super cool. But I think that's what that's going to be, this urgent quest. And then Idol collab, awesome. The other collab, I have no freaking clue what this is going to be. So we'll have to see when it gets here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm curious. And like, legitimate, like, what do you think? Like, are you in the same camp as me? Like, I legitimately think it's just going to be LTQs, an urgent quest, and then like it's going to be mostly catch up. They're going to probably nuke the cost of a lot of augments. Maybe we see a new augment like pop up in the mix there. They've been pretty heavy-handed with these new augment releases, and they've been pretty well nuking the cost of those augments with the content that's coming out at the time. So we'll have to see how that works out. But yeah, I'm curious. Let me know. Either way. Oh, and how if by some miracle you guys think they're going to make it even easier to make your Duocelias and your Duotassus, how do you think they're going to make that easier? Are they just going to like throw a bunch of units, like a bunch of things at you from the LTQs? What do you think is going to happen there? I think my last prediction is they're probably going to have an AC support scratch in the mix because we recently had unit upgrades. They usually stick to that trend. Either way, that's all I got for you guys. Like if you enjoyed the video, sub if you want to keep up with more. As always, thanks to channel members. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you all next time. Take care, my friends. Peace out.